So, good morning. I'm thinking a little bit today about the gallbladder meridian, we call it in Chinese medicine. So this is a line that runs up the side of the body, and I'm partly just self-interested in this area right now because being pregnant means that the forward and backward planes are sort of constrained, but the side movements still feel really free. So that's kind of why I got onto this. But then I was, thinking a little bit more about this particular meridian in terms of Chinese medicine, and it's quite interesting. There's, they say it's related to emotions of anger and resentment. And I thought maybe that's something that people might be experiencing some of in these times. I know for me, sometimes I feel quite angry or resentful about the situation, and I think that can show up for lots of people. So maybe that's an interesting experience to see how opening up this area helps us to work through some of that. But they also say that the gallbladder meridian is related to decision making. So if there's a kind of block in this area, it starts in I think the fourth toe and runs kind of on the outside of the foot, and then up the side of the leg, up the side waist, around the shoulder, and then it actually also gets into the side of the face. So if there's a block in this area, then maybe we tend to be more indecisive, or we procrastinate more. Maybe that's something that you're experiencing. And if we can open up the energy flow in this area, then we become more powerful in our decision making, and it sort of opens up the creative thought process. And I think this is useful now. When we have a big sort of shift where there are some things that we can't do, or we can't do them in the same way that we used to do them, that we need to be creative in how we sort of navigate a new way of doing things, or new things to fill up the spaces that were occupied by other things before. So decision making and creative thinking seemed like a good thing to be thinking about right now. So, or maybe you just feel like it's a nice stretch along your side body this morning, and that's also perfectly good. We'll start lying on the back, and you can just find a nice comfortable way to lie down. But we're actually going to come into a restorative posture right away here. So once you're lying on your back with your legs straight, you can take both of your legs over to the right. So you kind of think of like the lower part of a banana shape. Your hips are both heavy onto the floor, so keep that left hip grounded onto the floor, and we just shift the legs over to the right. And then we could cross the left ankle over the right ankle if that feels like not too much pull. From here, you could stretch your arms alongside your ears, and then you might take both of your arms over to the right to create the top half of that banana shape. You might even loop your right hand around your left wrist and just give kind of like a really gentle tug back on that left wrist. So we start to invite a longer stretch through the left side of the body. And this should be a relatively subtle experience. So I'm feeling how the breath might begin to move into the left side waist, how it might creep into those little nooks between the left side ribs. Getting a fuller sense of a smooth, even rhythm in your breathing. And we'll just stay here for a few moments as you're exploring that space in your left side. Also seeing if you can let the body be heavy, if you can find connection to your mat. Might be appropriate here to start looking at some kind of Ujjayi breath, so a little bit more breath along the back of your throat, a little bit of sound to your breathing. And just really feeling that expansive quality in the left side body as you inhale, and then the softening and the weight of the body as you exhale. Good, and then we'll come back towards center and uncross the legs. And moving over to the other side. So first take the legs over to the left. Again, keeping that right hip really heavy onto your mat. You might cross your right ankle over your left if that makes sense for you. Reach the arms nice and long behind your head. Maybe taking the arms then over to the left as well. And then you might loop your left hand around your right wrist to just give the tiniest little loving tug back on that right wrist to lengthen out through the right shoulder, the right side waist. And then again, noticing how your breath flows into your body, how this particular shape creates a certain experience of the breath, so we can really feel the breath moving into that open space in the right side, but then also how the breath enhances the stretch. The breath gives us even more space, more awareness of areas of tension, more ability to loosen those areas. So we get kind of like a positive feedback loop that the shape itself gives room to the breath, and then the breath gives room to the shape. And just a few steady breaths here. Ujjayi breath if that's appropriate for you. And then we'll come back to center. Now hug your right knee in towards your chest. And take your hands around the back of your right thigh, and we'll start to lengthen the right leg up towards the ceiling. Just getting it as straight as you're able. It doesn't have to be perfect or exact. Maybe it is perfect even without being exact. And then we're just gonna start to roll through the ankle. So you can just start in one direction, doesn't really matter which. Moving small circles through the ankle, seeing if you can explore the space around that whole range of motion. Good, and then we'll point the foot, so you're reaching up through the ball of the foot, seeing if you can find some length across the top of your foot. A few breaths here, maybe you can get a little bit more length in your leg as you reach up through the ball of your foot. Good, and then flex the foot, so we find space in the calf, maybe some space across the sole of the foot as you draw your toes towards your right shin. And then reaching through the inner edge of the foot, so we're tilting the outer edge of the right foot out to the right. Maybe you can find some length on the inner line of your ankle. And then finally moving in the other direction, so the ball of the foot moves into the left as you stretch up through the knife edge of your right foot, and find some length along the outer edge of your right ankle. Good, and then releasing the right leg back to the floor. Draw your left knee into your chest, hands loop around the back of your left thigh, and reach the left leg up towards the ceiling. And just seeing if you can invite length into the leg, whatever degree is available to you. And then we'll start to circle through the foot, moving in one direction. Maybe you notice some little cracks as you go around, last little bit of winter coldness working out of the body. You can go in the other direction. And then again, we'll point the foot, or sometimes we call this flanting in yoga. You could keep the toes spread wide, really reaching up through the ball of the foot, finding space through the top of your foot. Good, and then flexing the foot, so we find length through the calf, maybe a feeling of space in the sole of the foot as you draw the left toes in towards the left shin. Again, keeping that leg nice and long. Good. And then we'll lengthen through the inner line of the ankle, so you can kind of press that inner line of your foot up as you draw the outer edge of the foot more towards the left. And then other direction, so the Inner edge of the foot moves in towards the right as you stretch up through the outer edge of the left foot. You can find space across the outer line of the ankle. And then bending the knee and releasing the leg. We'll set both feet to the floor. With an inhale, reach your arms alongside your ears, taking a nice stretch back through your fingers. Exhale to roll onto your right side, bringing your left hand to the floor and slowly press yourself up to a seat. And then we'll just come to all fours, so arriving with your knees under your hips and your wrists under your shoulders. Taking a few rounds of cat and cow here. So as you're inhaling, you're lengthening the belly, lifting the chest, lifting the sits bones. Exhaling to round the back, hugging the belly in, let the head drop heavy. And inhale, stretching the ribs forward as you drag your hands against the mat. Exhaling to press down through the hands as you balloon up through the back body. You can just take a few more rounds, your own smooth rhythm of breathing. There, now you can see me. I'm sorry for everyone who was writing messages that you can't see. Again. We'll come back to a neutral line. Now as you exhale, you can take your right shoulder towards your right hip. So you're curving over to the right, finding space in your left side body. Inhale to come back to center. Exhaling to curve over to the left. So left shoulder towards the left hip. You can look over your left side. Inhale to come back to center. Exhaling again to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale left, a little bit of squeeze on the left side as you lengthen out through your right side. Inhaling back to center. Good. From here, we'll take the right leg back behind you. Tuck the toes under, root the ball of the foot, and press back through your right heel. So just finding some space in the back of your right leg, center of the heart pulling forward. And then we'll take the right foot over to the left. You're stepping to the outside of your mat on the left side. Again, rooting through the ball of the foot. You can press back through the ball of the foot. Reach a little bit forward through the center of the chest. And then again, look over your left shoulder. So long stretch to your right side, through the sideways, through the outer line of the right leg. A few breaths here. You might even feel this little squeezing quality in the left side as you lengthen out the right. So both the lengthening and the squeezing can be useful in generating more flow, less stagnation in any area of the body. And then we'll come back to center, reaching your right leg straight behind you, now parallel to the floor. Big inhale here. As you exhale, you can draw the knee into the chest, rounding the back. And we'll inhale to reach the right leg straight back. Exhale again, knee to chest, leaning into your hands. Inhale to reach the right leg back. One more time, exhale, drawing the knee into the chest, leaning into your hands and kind of puff up through the back. Inhale to reach your right leg straight back. Good. From here, we'll tuck the left toes under and then straighten up your left leg, so you're coming into a down dog split. With your next exhale, drawing that right knee back into your chest, bringing your shoulders forward over your wrists. Inhale to reach up and back. Exhale, taking your knee to your upper right arm, bring the shoulders forward over your wrists. Inhale, reaching up and back. Exhale, knee to your upper left arm, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale, reaching up and back. Exhale, bring the knee to the center of the chest, step the foot forward towards your hands. Bringing your left knee down to the mat. Inhale to sweep the arms up. And then from here, bending your left elbow so the left hand comes behind you, right hand to your left elbow. Draw your belly away from your right thigh, grow up through the ribs, and then start to reach over to the right. So seeing if you can find a little bit of that side bend again. Letting the hips sink low, pulling the belly away from the right thigh, growing up through the ribs as you inhale. Maybe a little bit more of that lean as you exhale. What we might feel here is the stretch through the right side body and then into sort of the front of the left hip as we let the hips sink and lift the ribs tall. Good. And then we'll come back to center and reach your arms up as you inhale. Exhale to bring your hands down to the floor. Then we'll start to straighten the right leg. So you're pulling your hips back, flexing your right foot. Reach back through the hips as you pull your heart forward. Lots of space here in your side waist, lots of length through the back of your right leg. And then walk both of your hands over to the right. And then we see if we can keep drawing the hips back, reach your heart forward. Slowly start to allow the outer right foot to settle towards the floor. So drawing back through your outer right hip, reaching forward through the center of the chest. A little bit of that side bend experience and feel length in the left side waist, but also now a nice tug through the outer line of your right leg. Hopefully it's nice. If it feels less than nice, maybe using your breath a little bit more specifically to explore those areas that feel especially resistant to this tug. And then we'll walk the hands back towards center, bending your right knee. You can straighten your left leg, press the mat away from you, pick up the right foot, step back to plank. And then just moving here through your own vinyasa, following your own rhythm of breathing. Right now. And we're arriving in downward dog. You can take a moment here, maybe walk the dog, a little bit of bending the knees, rocking the hips, getting comfy in this shape. Yeah. And then we'll come back to all fours. So you can bring your knees back down to the mat, aligning your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders. Taking your left leg back, and tuck the toes under, so reaching back through the heel as you press down through the ball of your left foot, reaching a little bit forward through the center of the chest. A nice breath into the space of the back of your left leg. And then picking up that left foot and stepping it over to the right, so it's on the outside of your mat. Reaching your ribs forward and then tucking your right shoulder towards your right hip as you look over your right side. So we get that longer stretch through the left side body, the side waist, maybe even into the outer left leg. And really thinking about the lengthening forward through the chest to create more space in the torso. And then maybe feeling that little bit of squeeze or hug in the right side as you lengthen out the left. So both sides of the body are getting a quality of juicing to help move things around, release any stagnation. And then we'll come back to center, reaching the left leg straight back now parallel to the floor. As you exhale, you can draw your knee into your chest, rounding through the back. Inhale, reaching your left leg straight back behind you. Exhale, knee to chest, leaning weight into your hands, rounding through your back. Inhale, reaching the left leg straight back. One more time, exhale, knee into the chest, leaning into your hands and feel the core activate. Inhale, reaching that left leg straight back, tucking your right toes under, start to straighten your right leg so that we arrive in a down dog split with the left leg up high. As you exhale, you can pull your left knee into the center of the chest, the shoulders over your wrists, inhaling to reach up and back. Exhale, the knee to the upper left arm, the shoulders over the wrists. Inhale, reaching up and back. Exhale, knee to the upper right arm, keeping the thigh hugging up towards you. Inhaling to reach up and back. Exhaling, knee into the center of the chest. And step the foot forward towards your hands. We'll bring the right knee down to the mat. And then sweeping your arms up alongside your ears. Let the shoulders and the hips settle. And now bending your right elbow, placing the right hand down behind your head, somewhere around the upper back. Left hand to your right elbow. You can start to reach up through that right elbow and then leaning over to the left. So we find this length in the right side body. And seeing if we can continue to draw the belly away from the left thigh, even as you're letting your hips sink. Ribs go up tall with each inhale, maybe a little bit more of that lean with each exhale so that we can find space in the right side body, but maybe even into the front of the right hip. And then coming back up, both arms reaching tall. And exhale to bring your hands down towards the floor. Begin to lengthen out your left leg, flexing your left foot. Seeing if you can draw your hips back, reach your heart forward so the sides of the waist stay long. Some space in your left leg, around the back of the left leg. And then we'll walk both hands over to the left, so to the outside of your left leg. Continue to draw back through your hips, pull forward through your heart so the torso stays long as you curl into that left side body. And then we'll allow the outer line of your left foot to settle towards the floor. Keep drawing the hip back. Keep sending your heart forward so that you can explore sensation in the outer line of your left leg. And then we'll come back to center, bending your left knee, walking your hands forward. Straightening out your right leg, pressing down through the mat, stepping back with the left foot. Again, just finding your own vinyasa. We'll meet again in downward dog. Good. And then from here, slowly walking your feet forward towards your hands and arrive at a comfortable forward fold. With an inhale, coming halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhale to empty and sink back down. And inhale again, halfway up, the ribs reaching forward. Exhale, emptying to sink back down. And one more time, inhaling halfway up. Exhale, empty and sink back down. You can just let yourself dangle here for a moment, seeing if you can especially let go of the neck and the face, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the temples. You can feel the weight of the head settle into the tug of gravity. And then coming maybe about halfway up, you can place your left hand to the floor, roughly under your face. You might bend your left knee a little bit, and then we'll inhale to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. I'm just finding a little bit of a twisted shape here. Stretching the ribs forward so the sides of the waist stay long as you roll that right shoulder open. Good. And then switching sides and bring your right hand back down to the floor. Maybe a little bend in the right knee as you reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Reaching the heart forward, rolling the left shoulder open. Nice wide stretch out through both arms. And we'll exhale the left hand back down. And from here, inhaling to come all the way up to standing, reaching your arms up alongside your ears, nice tall stretch. And then exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. Inhaling to reach your arms up, interlacing your fingers, press up through your palms. As you exhale, you can reach over to the right, so long space in your left side body. Tailbone lengthening down towards your heels, hug the belly gently in. See if you can again go up with your ribs as you reach over to the right. So there's lots of space in the low spine, support for the low back as you stretch into this side bend. And then we'll inhale to come back to center. Exhale to reach over to the left, finding that long space in your right side, but also keeping some lift in the left side waist, lengthening down through the tailbone so that the low back feels safe. A little bit more of a stretch over to the left with an exhale. And then we'll inhale to come back to center. Exhaling to bring your hands down behind your back, interlace your fingers. Inhale, lifting the center of the chest. Exhaling to soften over your thighs and bend your knees a little bit. Start to let the arms settle away from the back. So stretching into the shoulders here, maybe especially into the front line of the shoulders as the arms sink away from you. Nice heavy head, again relaxing the neck. Relaxing along the jaw, the temples. And then we'll bend the knees, sit the hips low, releasing the hands. You can inhale to sweep your arms up alongside your ears. Utkatasana. And exhaling to fold, bringing your hands towards the floor. And we'll inhale halfway up, reaching the ribs forward. Exhaling to plant the hands, stepping or maybe hopping back if that's something that you practice. Moving again with your own breath, finding your path to downward dog. And we'll meet again there. And with your next inhaling, reach your right leg up and back. Exhale to bend the knee, open the hip. So we're lifting through the inner line of the right thigh here, making sure you can keep your shoulders square. So look for a little bit of lift in the left shoulder so the shoulders are parallel. Just the hips turning away from the floor, really stacking that right hip over the left. A little bit more lift through the inner line of your right leg. And we'll exhale to draw the right knee into the center of the chest. Shoulders come forward. Inhale, reaching up and back. Exhale the knee to the upper right arm, bringing the shoulders forward.
Inhale, reaching up and back. Exhale, the knee across to the upper left arm. And take the right leg over to the left. Root the knife edge of the right foot. Drop onto the inner edge of your left foot. Reach your left arm up to the ceiling. See if you can get your hips up really high here. Take your left arm forward alongside your left ear and stretch into your left side body. You might just stay like this, or maybe exploring bringing your left hand to the back of your head. So you're bending your left elbow, and then you can kind of stretch forward through that point of the left elbow and press your head into your left hand. And just notice how that changes the sensation of the stretch in your left side body. So it's almost a little bit more of a back bend, but by reaching forward through that left elbow, we get maybe just a little bit of a longer line. And then we'll exhale to bring the left hand back to the floor. Pull the right knee into the chest and step the right foot forward towards your hands. Spinning your left heel down, root the sole of the left foot. Inhale to come up to warrior one. Just a moment here, looking for relatively square hips, drawing the belly away from the right thigh, growing up nice and tall through your ribs, long reach up through your arms as you inhale. And then we're slowly going to start to straighten the right leg, spin the right foot over to the left, so all 10 toes pointing to the long edge of your mat, and then leaning into a side bend over to the left. And then inhale to come up to center. Exhale to bring your hands to your hips. Inhale to lift the center of the chest. Exhale to fold, placing your hands towards the floor. Inhale to reach the ribs forward. And then as you exhale, you just place your left hand under your face. Take your right hand to your low back. Feel that the hips are square. Keep reaching your ribs forward, so get long in the torso with your inhales. And then exhale to start to roll your right shoulder open, keeping the hips square. So a little bit of lift in that left hip as you roll the right shoulder open. From here, maybe reaching your right arm up to the ceiling, if that feels available. And let's take a few breaths in this twist. Finding length in your legs, seeing if you can hug the kneecaps up, engage the thighs up, lift your sits bones, spread the sits bones wide. Again, keep reaching your heart forward to lengthen out the sides of the waist so that there's space for the twist, the right shoulder rolling open each time you exhale. And then we'll exhale to bring the right hand back down to the floor. Inhale to come about halfway up, the ribs reach forward. Exhale your hands to your hips. Pressing down through the feet, inhale to come up to standing. Turning your right toes forward, bending your right knee, bring your arms out shoulder height, warrior two. We'll inhale to reverse warrior, lengthening back through your right side body. From here, straightening your right leg, see if you can lengthen back a little bit more. So maybe you're sliding that left hand a little bit deeper down your left leg, big space in your right side body. And then holding strong through the core, so low belly drawing in, coming through center. We'll reach the right arm as far forward as possible. Exhale to bring the right arm down, the left arm up, moving into triangle pose. Sending your hips back, stretching the ribs forward so that again, we're actively lengthening out both sides of the waist. A little bit of a feeling of a twist here as you roll your left side ribs open. A nice long reach up through that left hand, but maybe you can let the left shoulder just gently soften back. And see if you can really breathe into those longer sides in your waist here. And then pressing down through the feet. We'll inhale to come back up. Exhale to bend the right knee. Inhale, reverse warrior, again long through your right side body. Exhale, windmilling your hands down to the inside of your right foot. And tuck your left toes under. You might wiggle your right foot out more to the right so that the hands can be roughly shoulder width apart, the hips are square. And now we'll walk the hands forward as far as you can reach. Really pressing forward and down into your hands to send weight towards your left foot. If you need to bring your left knee down here as a modification, that's also perfectly good. Breathing into the backs of your shoulders as you inhale. As you exhale, see if you can let your hips just sink really nice and low. And maybe you're squeezing that inner right thigh towards your side body. So we're keeping the right knee, the right toes pointing straight forward here. And just letting the hips go down towards the floor. Good. And then from here, we'll Come back up onto the hands, so hands in line with the inner line of your foot. And then you can turn your right toes a little bit out to the right and start to walk your hands over to the left and then again forward away from the body. So you can think of the body maybe like a clock here. The pelvis would be at 12 o'clock, so hips are sort of square straight forward. That right foot is pointing off to maybe 2 o'clock and your hands are walking off to whatever o'clock you can reach for on the other side. And seeing if you can really keep that sense of a straightforward shape in the hips, and then just the legs and the torso shifting off into opposite directions. And breathing here again, really letting the hips sink low. And then we'll walk back to center. You can straighten out that right foot. Rooting through your left hand. Inhale to reach the right arm up to the ceiling. So nice twist here, opening up through the chest. And then as you exhale, you place the right hand down to the inside of your right foot. Spin your left heel down. So we're rooting again through the sole of the left foot. And then we'll inhale the left arm up to the ceiling, opening the chest up wide. Reaching your left arm forward alongside your left ear. So you can get space in the left side body. A nice deep bend in your right knee. You can hug that right hip in towards the midline as you roll your left side ribs open. Again, maybe a chance to experiment here. You might place your left hand to the back of your head, and then rather than reaching forward through the fingertips, see if you can reach forward through that sharp elbow point and kind of press your head a little bit into your left hand and see if that helps you get more space through your left side body, around the ribs. Good. And then from here, we'll press down through the feet and inhale to windmill your arms all the way up into reverse warrior. One more time. Exhale to bring the hands down to the floor. Side by side, we'll step the right foot back into plank and move with your own breath to downward dog. And then from here, inhaling to take the left leg up and back. Exhale, bending the knee, opening up the hip, lifting through the inner line of your left thigh. See if you can keep the shoulder square, so that right shoulder slightly lifted. Just the hips turning, left hip stacking over the right, really bending your left knee, so good squeeze through the hamstring as you take that inner left leg up. And then exhale the knee into the chest, shoulders come forward over the wrists. Inhale, reaching up and back, down dog split. Exhale, left knee to your upper left arm. Inhale, reaching up and back. Exhale, left knee to the upper right arm, and then taking that left leg out to the right, root the knife edge of the foot, inner edge of your right foot down, reaching your right arm up to the ceiling, and really pressing down through your left hand to get the hips up high. Take your right arm forward alongside your right ear to stretch into your right side body. Either just stay here or bending your right elbow, right hand to the back of the head. Reach forward through that point of your right elbow as you press your head into your right hand. A little bit more lengthening through the belly, but maybe we can feel how that changes the sensation in the side body as well. Exhaling to bring the right hand down, left knee into the chest, stepping the left foot forward. I'm losing all of my cords. Right foot flat to the floor, coming up into warrior one. So arms up alongside your ears, reaching up nice and tall, belly away from the left thigh as you let the hips settle. And then we'll move into straightening the left leg, spinning the left toes towards the right and leaning to the right. So finding that side stretch. Inhale to come back up tall. Exhale your hands to your hips. Inhale to lift the center of the chest. Exhale to fold, spilling your hands down to the floor. Inhale to reach the ribs forward. And then as you exhale, you can just place that right hand roughly under your face, the left hand to the low back. So feeling maybe just the back of the pelvis, see if you can get kind of square shape in the hips. Keep reaching your heart forward. As you exhale, start to roll the left shoulder open. Seeing if you can turn just the ribs away from the hips. And then maybe from here, we'll reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. I think there's not enough space anymore in my pants for my baby and this microphone. Good. We'll have to work on that. It's a nice wide reach out through both of your arms.
Again, also focusing a lot on the length in your torso. So hips reach back, ribs reach forward as you inhale, and notice how that length gives you more room for twisting. Okay. And then pouring the left hand back to the floor. We'll inhale to reach the ribs forward. Exhale to bring the hands to the hips. Pressing down through the feet. Inhale to come all the way up. Reach your arms up nice and tall. And then we'll turn the left toes forward, bend the left knee, arms out shoulder height, warrior two. Inhaling to reverse warrior, long through your left side body. And then from here, straightening your left leg and keep reaching back through those left fingers. A little bit more space in your left side body. From here, hugging in through the belly, so we're strong through the core. Left arm reaching all the way forward, and then bring your left arm down, right arm up for triangle pose. You just find lots of space in the sides of the waist as you send your hips back and stretch your ribs forward. And roll the right side ribs open. A little bit of sensation of the twist. And then we'll press down through the feet. Inhale to come back up. Exhaling to bend your left knee, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, left side body long. Exhale, spinning the hands down to the inside of your left foot. You can wiggle your left foot out to the left. Tuck your right toes under. Reaching the hands forward, so you're walking as far forward as you can with your hands. Pressing your hands forward and down, seeing if you can send weight towards your right foot. Again, if you need to modify by bringing the right knee to the floor, that's an option. Breath in the backs of the shoulders as you inhale, and then exhaling to let the hips sink a little bit lower. Maybe you can hug the left thigh in so the inner line of the leg stays slightly active as we let the hips drop down. Good. And then we'll walk the hands back in. Turn your left toes out to the left. Walk your right hands over to the right, and then again walk forward with your hands. So thinking about pointing straight forward with the pubic bone as the left leg shifts off to the left and the torso stretches off to the right. That right leg is shooting straight back behind you. Few breaths here, again seeing you really let the hips sink. Again, right knee to the floor is a perfectly good option if that's what you need. And then we'll walk back to center. Turning your left toes forward, rooting the right hand, inhale the left arm up, moving into a twist, chest nice and wide open. And then exhaling, left hand down to the inside of your left foot. Root the sole of your right foot, so kind of a warrior two stance, and then we'll take the right arm up to the ceiling, open the chest up wide. So you can really lean back through that right shoulder. Take your right arm forward alongside your right ear, stretching into the right side body. And good bend in your left knee, hug the left hip in towards the midline. Maybe bending your right elbow, right hand to the back of your head, stretching forward through that point of your right elbow as you roll your right side ribs open and press your head into your hands. So make sure the right elbow is not going up towards the ceiling, but rather forward beyond the top edge of your mat. From here, we'll release whatever you have with your hands, pressing down through the feet, inhaling once more to reverse warrior, long space in your left side. Exhaling to windmill the hands to the mat, stepping back to plank, and traveling with your breath to downward dog. Good. Just taking a moment in downward dog, pressing forward and down through your hands, reaching up high through your hips. Again, another opportunity to stretch out through both sides of your waist. Really feel just how long your torso, your spine can get. And end of your next exhale, bending your knees, look forward. You can step the feet or hop the feet up towards your hands. Inhaling halfway up, exhaling to settle down into your fold. Bend the knees, sit the hips low. We'll inhale to reach the arms up tall. Exhaling, straightening the legs, hands towards the center of the chest. And inhale again to reach the arms up, interlacing the fingers, press up through your palms. Exhale to reach over to the right. Inhaling to come back to center. Exhale, reaching over to the left. Make it a reach, not a collapsing. Inhale to come back to center. Maybe just once, you can
Fold the palms together, just keep that pointer finger extended. And now as you exhale, see if you can lean into a gentle back bend, so just tipping the ribs slightly back. And then we'll pull back up to center. Hands behind the back, interlace the fingers here. Inhale to lift the center of the chest. Exhale, softening the knees as you drape your belly towards your thighs. Arms settling away from your back. And finding that spaciousness in the shoulders, just whatever your own edge is. Really let the head go. Neck relaxes. Relax all the muscles of your face. And then again, bend the knees deeper, hands in close, releasing your hands, sweep the arms up alongside your ears as you inhale. Exhale to fold, hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway up, reach the ribs forward. Exhale, planting the hands, step or hop back. Again, your own sweet path to downward dog. However you like to get there. There are no rules except follow your breath. So we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip. Inhale to lift that inner right thigh higher. And as you exhale, we'll step the right foot down behind the left knee. So moving into flip the dog and root the outer edge of your left foot. Lift your hips, right arm reaching up and then forward towards or beyond the front edge of your mat. And maybe you're able to lean into a little bit more of a back bend. Yeah. And then from here, we'll pull back towards center. Right hand coming down to the floor. Inhale to reach your right leg up. Exhale to pull your right knee towards your upper left arm. Thread that right leg over to the left, rooting the outer edge of the foot, inner edge of the left foot down, left arm reaching up, left arm forward alongside your left ear, hips nice and high, and maybe that variation with the left hand to the back of the head, reaching forward through the left elbow, if you like it. And then bringing your left hand back to the floor, right knee hugs into the chest, step the right foot forward. Left foot flat to the mat, inhale to come up, warrior one. And then straightening the right leg, spinning the right toes to the left as you exhale, leaning into this side bend to the left. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the center of the chest. Exhale, folding, bringing your hands to the floor. We'll inhale to come halfway up, reach the ribs forward. And then exhaling to just fold right down as deeply as you're able. You might bring your hands flat to the floor. You might position your hands so that they're lined up with your feet, fingers and toes in the same direction, lengthening up through the backs of the legs, hugging in the belly and reaching down through your ribs as you exhale so that we're also lengthening out through the torso. If your head comes comfortably to the floor and you have experience with the headstand variation here, maybe this is an opportunity to explore that. If you've never tried it before, then now is not the good time to do that. Just offering options. I have no idea who's out there. And then if you have your feet up, bring them down. From there, we'll start to come back up to a half lift on an inhale, ribs reaching forward. Exhale to bring your hands to your hips. Inhale to come up to standing. Turning your right toes forward, bending your right knee, arms out, warrior two. We'll inhale, reverse warrior, the right arm sweeping back. Exhale to windmill your hands down to the inside of your right foot. Again, right foot can wiggle to the right, tuck your left toes under. From here, we'll come down onto the forearms if that works for you, or you could just bend your elbows, or you could again walk your hands forward like we had in the last variation. Or if you have a block or something block-like within reach, maybe you come down onto your forearms on whatever that support is. So you can get creative with how you want to do this. But basically the same idea that we're letting the hips sink, hugging the right thigh in so the inner line of the leg stays active as we let the hips lower. Maybe the left knee needs to come down to the mat, or maybe we keep the left leg straight. Yeah, and then you can come back up onto your hands. We'll turn the right toes out to the right, walk the hands over to the left, and again, maybe coming down onto your forearms here, or finding some other variation. Again, this shape of having the hips pointing straight along that 12 o'clock line, with the right thigh easing off to the right and the torso stretching off to the left. And we can feel space in the right side body, maybe a little bit of a squeeze in the left side waist. And then we'll come back to center and come up on your hands. Right toes forward, root the left hand. Inhale to reach the right arm up, chest nice and wide into the twist. Exhale the right hand down to the inside of the right foot, root the sole of the left foot. Inhale your left arm up to the ceiling, chest nice and wide open, reaching your left arm forward alongside the left ear. Maybe stay here, or maybe in this shape, taking the bind. So left hand comes down behind the back. We sink the right shoulder, the right arm scoops under the right thigh, finding whatever you can find to hold on to behind you. Hug that right hip into the midline. Again, see if you can lengthen the belly, roll the left side ribs open. Lots of sensation here, maybe in your outer right hip. Good. If you have the bind, you can release it, bringing both hands down towards the floor, wherever you were. And then we'll creep the hands a little bit forward, shift that left foot in a little bit closer to the right until you're ready to bring your weight into your right foot. Set your right hand in front and to the right of your right leg, and then start to lift the left leg parallel to the floor. As you feel ready, you can roll the left side ribs open, reach your left arm up towards the ceiling, coming into a half moon shape. Maybe just staying here, or again, just for the sake of offering options, if you want a little more, you might bend your left knee, reach for the left foot, press the left foot into the left hand, a little bit more length through the inner left thigh, a little bit more length through the belly. Great, and then we'll bring both hands back to the floor, square the hips, step your left foot behind and to the outside of your right foot. A little bit of bend in your knees, or maybe even a lot of bend in your knees. Inhale to reach your ribs forward, and then exhale to fold over your legs and see if you can start to straighten up the legs. So maybe you're just gently pressing that right knee back into the left as you ease the torso down over your legs. It's a good crease at your hips. Maybe we feel then some sensation again along the outer line of the left leg as that right knee guides the left knee back. Another nice opportunity to really let go of your head, relax the neck, relax the face. Good, and then again, finding some bend in your knees. You might walk your hands a little closer in, root the right foot. We'll take a big step back with the left foot. Spin the left heel down, just one more time, coming up into warrior, a reverse warrior, reaching your right arm back alongside your right ear. Exhale, hands to the floor, framing your right foot, stepping back to plank and moving with your breath to downward dog. And however you like to get there. And we'll inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale to lift the inner left thigh higher. Exhale, the left foot steps down behind the right knee. Inhale to lift your hips up high, and turning the chest up towards the ceiling, the left fingers reaching beyond the front edge of your left mat, of your whole mat. I don't know why it had sides suddenly. And then we'll come back, left hand to the floor. Inhale, reach your left leg straight up and back. Exhale, hugging the knee in towards the right arm, and then taking that left leg out to the right. Root the inner edge of your left foot, right arm of your right foot, right arm reaching up to the ceiling, hips up high, and the right arm forward alongside the right ear. Could maybe bring your right hand to the back of your head and find more of the reach forward through your elbow point. And then taking the right hand to the floor, hug the left knee into the chest, step the left foot forward. Right foot flat to your mat, inhaling to come up. And then straightening your left leg, spinning the toes to the right, all 10 toes pointing to the right, leaning over to the right for a side bend. Inhale to come back up. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Inhale, lift the center of the chest. Exhaling to fold, letting the arms again sink away from your back. A little bit of a stretch or a lot of a stretch in the shoulders. Just make sure it's not too much. So your own edge, your own soft edge. Lots of length up the backs of the legs. Lift the sits bones, spread the sits bones wide. As you exhale, scoop the belly in, reach the ribs down, let the head go. And then pressing into the feet, inhale to come back up.
Exhaling to turn your left toes forward, bend the left knee, arms out, shoulder height, warrior two. And we'll inhale to reverse warrior, the left arm reaching back. Exhale to, sorry, I missed something there. Reaching back through your left arm. Exhale to straighten your left leg. Did I do that on the other side? I can't even remember. Coming into triangle pose. I think we did. I might have missed it on the second round. Good. I'm just taking a few breaths here in triangle pose, hips back, ribs forward. Nice wide space across the chest. And then we'll come back up to standing, exhaling to bend the left knee. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale to windmill the hands down to the inside of your left foot. And wiggle the left foot to the left. And then tucking your right toes under. Again, we might come down here onto the forearms or whatever solution you found on the other side. So maybe arms just reaching forward, maybe just a little bit bend in the elbows, maybe using some kind of support so that the forearms can come down to something that is closer to you than the floor. And seeing if you can, again, hug that left leg in towards you as you let the hips sink low. And then coming back up onto your hands. Walking the hands over to the right, turning that left foot out to the left. And again, maybe coming down onto your forearms or whatever solution makes sense for you. So hips pointing forward, that left thigh peeling off to the left, the torso sweeping off to the right. Maybe some sensation of length in your left side waist, a little bit of squeeze in the right side waist. And then we'll come back to center. Turning the right toes, the left toes forward. Right hand roots. Inhale to reach your left arm up, chest wide open. And then exhale the left hand down to the inside of your left foot. Root the sole of the right foot. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling, chest wide open. Maybe right arm comes forward alongside the right ear. Or taking your hand behind your back and then moving into the bind. So left arm threading under your left thigh, seeing if you can still hug that left hip into the midline, stretch the belly long, lean back with your right shoulder. And some sensation in the outer left hip, maybe a little bit of a squeezing along the left side waist. Look for as much length there as you can find. Good. And then we'll release whatever you had with the arms, hands down towards the floor. You can just start to creep your hands forward, creep that right foot in until you're ready to shift your weight into your left leg. Left hand in front and to the left of your left foot. Sweep the right leg up parallel to the floor and then reach your right arm up to come into a half moon shape. And maybe here we're bending the right knee, reaching with the right hand for the right foot. This dancer's variation of the half moon pose. Again, just an option. Do what you can. Big full breaths. And then maybe letting go of that foot. Bringing hands to the floor, squaring your hips, and then taking your right leg behind the left. So the right foot steps in behind and to the outside of your left foot. Maybe you start with some bend in the knees. Reach your ribs forward as you inhale. And then exhale to fold over both of your legs. Start to look for more length in the legs. Maybe that left knee just gently snuggles the right knee back. You can spread the sits bones wide. You can lift the sits bones. Belly drawing in as you exhale to help you fold a little bit more neatly over your legs. And seeing if we can find some sensation through the outer right hip, the outer right leg as you fold here. And then slowly coming back up onto your fingertips. A little bit of bend in the knees again, really rooting through your left foot. You can step that right foot back. Spin the right heel down. Once more, windmill your arms up into reverse warrior, the left side body long. Exhaling to windmill the hands back to the floor. Framing your left foot, stepping back to plank and moving one more time through your own path to downward dog.
moment here. Hips up high, stretching out the center body. Good. We'll inhale once more to reach the right leg up and back. I'm just going to exhale to bring the knee to the right wrist, laying the shin bone down so that we can settle into pigeon pose. If this isn't great for you, there's an option on the back. I can explore that in a moment. Otherwise, just finding an angle in the knee that's good for your own knee. And then making sure that the hips settle evenly. You might need some support under the right hip. Improvise with whatever you have handy. Seeing then if you can lengthen the belly and just slowly ease down either onto your forearms or all the way onto your forehead, whatever works for you. If you need the variation on your back or just lying down flat on the back, left knee bends, right knee or right ankle crosses just above the left knee, and then you hug that left thigh in towards you. And this gives us the same set of sensations without the pressure of the body on the right leg. So wherever you've ended up, seeing if you can again explore with your breath into whatever set of sensations you're feeling. So the shape itself invites a space for the breath to move into. And then the breath changes exactly what we're feeling in that space. Maybe it gives us a sense of acceptance or softness. So that again we get this kind of positive feedback loop. Let's stay here for a few more steady breaths. Good, and then we'll slowly come back up onto the hands, or if you're on your back, you can just switch sides there. So for everyone else, shifting back to downward dog. And then inhaling to reach the left leg up and back. Exhaling to pull the knee to the left wrist. Again, the shin bone just at an angle that's comfortable for you. The right knee to the mat, and scooch back through that right leg. See if you can, again, really settle the hips at the same rate towards the floor. Use support under your left hip if you need it. Be creative with whatever you have handy. Lengthening the belly, coming forward and down onto your forearms or all the way onto your forehead. And just a few steady breaths here. Maybe you can continue to open up the space in the outer hip by thinking about the length in your torso. So if you can keep reaching your ribs forward of your hips and lengthening out the side waists, then we access the chain of muscles that runs down into the outer left hip, and we get maybe more sensation of broadening, loosening in that area. It might be useful to think as much about breathing into your mid-body as it is to think about breathing into your left hip. And then walking your hands back in, tucking your right toes under. So if you're on your back, you can just come up to a seat. And the rest of us meeting in downward dog, bringing your knees down to the mat, shifting your hips off to one side so that you can swing your legs forward.
And then we'll just open up the inner line of the legs as a nice little contrast. So this is the liver meridian, which is the pair to the gallbladder meridian. So you can start with your heels relatively close into your sits bones, the soles of the feet together. And then see if you can tip onto the front edge of your sits bones. Nice long space in the torso, so good length in the back here. And then as you exhale, easing into a forward fold by reaching your ribs forward. So seeing if we can keep that relative length in the back. There will be, of course, some rounding as we fold, but what we want is a feeling of a long, almost straight spine. You might feel how you can roll your thigh bones outwards in the hip sockets to give you a little bit more space in tipping at the hips. And just take a few steady breaths in this shape. And then we'll slowly inhale to come back up. And bring the heels away from your sits bones now, so we have more of like a diamond shape in the legs. Let the spine be round, and then again start to ease forward, but now with this rounder spine. You could just walk your hands forward over the shins, or if it feels comfortable, maybe you like to thread your forearms under your shins, and just choose the variation that makes sense for you. So again, finding this sense of softness or softening in the inner lines of the legs. Nice round spine. Again, let the head be heavy. And we'll let the neck and the sides of the face soften here as the crown of the head sinks down towards the floor. So much more of this curved shape in the back. Breathing into the balloon of the back body. A few steady breaths here. And then we'll slowly come back up and take your hands to your outer thighs, draw the knees in towards each other, shifting into the middle of your mat. You can slowly ease down onto your back. Just for a moment, you can draw your knees into your chest, wrap your hands or your arms around your shins. You might like to rock a little bit side to side here, massage your back against the floor. And then as you're ready, coming into Shavasana, you can let your arms, your legs spill out on your mat. You might have the legs straight, or if you need something different, you can do something different, knees bent, whatever it is that feels good for you. If you have your legs straight, maybe take up a little bit more space than usual. Allow your arms also to starfish out away from your body, so that for this Shavasana especially, we can explore like a really expansive open midline, and that inner line of the leg area a little bit more relaxed. And just settle nice and heavy into this final shape. And see if you can allow the effects of the practice to simply integrate into your body, so we don't have to do anything here with the information or the discoveries that we've made in the practice. We just see if we can absorb it. And allow the body's own wisdom to process and do what it needs to do with that information. See if you can let your breath be especially soft here. So we let go of any effort to guide or control the breath. Let the weight of your head and your shoulders and your hips and your arms and your legs surrender to the pull of gravity. See if you can soften all of your skin. And be more melted, more puddle-like. And then arriving back in the solid space of your body, you can start to find full conscious breath, little movements in your fingers and your toes. And reach the legs forward and the arms back by your head and take a long stretch out through the ends of your body. As you exhale, bending your knees and roll onto your right side. And then finding your way slowly up to a comfortable seat, cross-legged or whatever works for you. And just with your eyes closed here, you can take a moment to turn your attention back inwards and notice how you feel now. If the seat feels comfortable, if the hips are more easily able to settle into the shape, if there's a specific feeling of length in the sides of the waist that gives us more height, more room for the breath in the sides of the ribs. Maybe now you feel ready to move forward with your day in the way that honors your full energy and your full creativity. And bring the hands together at the center of your chest. And thank yourself for your practice. Namaste. Good. Thank you for joining. I don't know about the people on Facebook if you can see me at all, but I think that you could. And thanks for sticking around. And yeah, it's been fun. I'm not out of breath, so I don't know if that was just really easy or if this is doing really great things for my lung capacity to be pregnant and demonstrating and teaching all at the same time. But I don't know. Thanks. And I hope we'll see you soon.